All right, this video is about the InDesign Lab 2, and we're going to start working with the graphics. They are placed graphics, much like in Illustrator, where you go to to file place and you select your file and it's linked back to that file. You can embed like Illustrator, but it's not recommended because the key with difference with InDesign over Illustrator is that you can track where these images are. You don't want to have something living inside of a document that years later you can't find. You may need that image and it's stuck in that file. And if you have enough updates to the program, you may not be able to open that. So it's important to have all your graphics from Illustrator and Photoshop separate and have them linked up. So you have this information, which is very helpful. And if I go to links and it's window links, and I have it here, you will have the list of everything in your document. So this lives on page 1. It'll tell you what page it's on, and you click on it, it'll go to that page and highlight which file you're talking about. And here's all the link info. So it's very useful. This file format is TIFF, which is used for printing. JPEGs and PNGs are not for printing, that's for web. And CMYK is the color mode that you use for printing, not RGB. That is web. So if you're doing something that's going to be printed, you want to save your Photoshop files as either PSD or TIFFs. I like TIFFs. They flatten TIFFs to save memory. And you will don't want to have like a CMYK JPEG. No one can open that unless they have Photoshop. So make sure you have your color mode correct and your file format correct for your project. This is the size of it in megabytes. This is the pixels per inch. So 300 is the minimum for printing. 72 is what you use for digital. And effective PPI means if you've scaled it and you scale it down like you see here, it will tell me that this isn't even scaled proportionately. The height is different than the width. And so the pixels per inch have changed. So I can change that. I can double click to get the picture within the container, and you can see that those are not the same. So if I change that to 68, you'll see what happens now. Overall, the pixels per inch are now 441, which is more than enough for printing. You do not want to scale this low. You want to scale no less than 80. And if you do it once and they're connected here, you only have to type it once. And you don't want to go above 120 because then those you don't have enough pixels. It'll look strange. And what I have here is this brown box is the actual photo, and then this blue box is the container it's sitting in. So you can think of it as like a window frame, and you can crop in a little bit. You don't want to do a lot of that. You want to do any cropping to size in Photoshop, but let's say you need to crop just a little bit. You have that ability with these windows, and you can move the photo around. As you can see with the brown is telling you what the real full photo that you've brought in looks like. And you can see that I changed the pixel, the effective pixel per inch. It'll tell you where it is, when it was made, what your scaling is. So all kinds of information that is very useful, especially if you have a lot of photos, and this just kind of manages it for you. So that's in the links panel. Now let's say you've brought these photos in and you've decided to make a folder, project folder, after you've started, which is a bad idea. Okay, so you want to have a project folder first, and you want to have your images first before you start moving them around, because what's going to happen, so if I put a new folder and I call it images, and I start moving these to keep it orderly and clean, if I go to this file, you'll get a red question mark. Now you've moved it because it's looking for it on the desktop, not in a folder. And so that means you have a broken link. So you can double click here, or you can double click here to then navigate to where those images are living. And if you see here, it says Rose's TIFF. I click on it. And what happens is if it finds any other images that are placed into this folder, it will automatically do it. So I only had to do it once. And now it says it's in this images folder. So that is really important, that you create all of your pieces and crop them and change color modes and resize whatever you're doing first before you bring things into InDesign, because it can cause problems. It'll be a low-res preview if you for your PDF or printing if you don't have those links corrected. So that is the first part of this working with graphics. If you've changed something, so let's go to my file. Here's my images. And then if I do colorful flowers, and let's say I change it to grayscale and I save that, what's going to happen is you get this triangle, and that means the original has changed and you need to update it. So you can click here or you can click here, and when I do, there you go. Now I have the most current file. So if you have a logo that you want to have full color on one page and one color on the next page, you need two files. One that's just the one color that would be linked, and one that's three colors that would be linked, because you can't colorize very easily anything. You can colorize TIFFs. So if I wanted to colorize this, this black and white TIFF, it's got to be grayscale. And you can colorize it with, just like in Photoshop and Illustrator, we have the foreground and the background. Okay, so that's like the container is colored. You can see the container's colored, but not the image. So if I double click on the image, you can see it's black. And if I color it, a different color, you can see you can do some really cool things. Or, the container can be white, and you can have this toned. So you can do stuff, but it's limited here in InDesign. But you would want to have a full color image if you're going to use that somewhere else, and this black and white separate, so that they're linked separately and you're independent of each other. So you can see how how we deal with fixing the links, making sure nothing's broken. The number one way to avoid that is to have your files organized before you begin creating in InDesign. And you can go to your properties, and you can also do a lot of linking work there as well. So you can have, it'll have all the information. So there's all kinds of things you can do, including embed. But I don't recommend embedding, because the whole point is to keep track of these files.